We sat down and I asked people, how real was this? And they said, this is 11 out of 10. This is how good it is. This is exactly what it's like. And it was a real honest moment, or a real calibration about what it was like to work on something, how difficult it was to be compliant. A few years ago, I had a call from an international airline. They had problems on one of their sites. Some of their technicians had been photographed walking on the wings without proper fall rest equipment. There was even a photograph of some scotch tape, high-vis scotch tape sitting in front of a cabin door with no steps outside, which leads to a really big hazard situation there. And they'd been photographed hanging out of the cockpit window doing some maintenance tasks on the windshield. So they were really upset, and they were going to have a meeting the following day. And the head of safety for this company, they asked me to come in and join the meeting because they felt it might go off the rails. So I flew in and I joined the meeting, and people wanted blood. It was rough, and you could hear that they were sort of jumping to the solutions of what needed to happen. We need to put up big posters about the standards that we accept, the standards that we don't accept. Someone else suggested that we should have a commitment ceremony where people walk up and sign on their commitment to be compliant with procedures and so on. And I was getting increasingly itchy in this situation. I didn't like it. They were trying to throw a behavioral lasso around something which was fairly fuzzy and ambiguous to me. I have lots of friends who are aircraft mechanics and technicians, and it was a bit of a mystery to me why they would not want to be compliant in that situation. So I asked the group, have those solutions worked in the past? And the group just fell flat. They didn't even tell me back, but they sort of turned on me and asked, what do you want to do then? And I said, I don't know what the solution is here, but I would like to go to site and talk to these people about what matters to them, what is getting in the way of good work, and what are they trying to achieve, what are they trying to avoid. So through a series of conversation, I finally got permission to go there and talk to people under one condition, which was that I would always bring up the working at height situation in every conversation. So I ran focus groups and individual conversations, and not in a single conversation did I have to bring up the working at height. People spontaneously brought it up because they were frustrated by the lack of professionalism that we're forced to live with. So I was talking to them, and there were lots of issues. There were sort of conflicts or tension between the base maintenance and the line maintenance. They were borrowing equipment from each other, so equipment wandered between base, and there was just not enough equipment to go around, not enough tools. The parts that the inventory list said was there wasn't there, and people were constantly behind schedule, and it was really high pressure work situation where people had to work around these constraints. So I was writing down these stories, and then we invited corporate back in to read these stories that people shared with me about how work was playing out. And it was just quiet in the room. We had maybe 30 people working together, just working through one story at a time. And they just stepped away from these overly simplistic behavioral solution into the mess, the complexity, the untidiness of the place. The tone changed. We sat down and I asked people, how real was this? And they said, this is 11 out of 10. This is how good it is. This is exactly what it's like. And it was a real honest moment, a real calibration about what it was like to work on something, how difficult it was to be compliant. So a lot of time we start with this sort of jumping to, we just need to enforce things. People are the problem that we need to control. But as you step into work, you realize that actually work is difficult and challenging. There's a lot of hygienic issues, basic setup things that we need to address first before we can start fine-tuning a little bit with the people performance side. So when we face a performance challenge, just don't simply jump to the solution that first comes to mind. It might be actually a sign that you're not sufficiently connected as a business, that there's a structural issue about those in power actually are too distant from where work happens. There might be an imagination challenge for you as a business, a failure of imagination, if you will, that you're failing to step outside your own preconceived ideas about what's happening on site, that we're so disconnected, this divide between us and them shows up. And the way to bridge that gap is to start having conversation, to start having connections, and start allowing an honest shared reality emerge between people and take action from there.